Did you know? Modern science operates on some assumptions that most of us take for granted, such as the world and other people exist independently of my consciousness. This idea, known as realism, is just an assumption. Scientifically speaking, we still don't know whether it's actually true. In other words, it's possible that my consciousness is creating the world and other people. Yes, you heard that right. There's a non-zero chance that only you exist. The world and everyone else are just creations of your consciousness. But let me ask you, can you prove that other people actually exist? You might laugh and say, "What? That's ridiculous. Of course other people exist." Let's take a step back. The danger of binary thinking. As humans, we often instinctively fall into binary thinking, deciding that something is either black or white, true or false. For example, the world and other people either exist or don't exist. But according to modern science, the reality is more nuanced. Science says, we're not sure. Surprisingly, science has yet to solve some fundamental questions, such as, what is consciousness? What existed before the Big Bang? Do other people actually exist? Is the world real? The existence of the world and others remains scientifically unresolved. So, brushing aside such questions with, of course the world is real, it's obvious, can actually limit your understanding. Why does this matter? By gaining a deeper understanding of the existence of the world and others, you'll begin to develop a quantum mindset, a way of thinking that embraces complexity and uncertainty. This shift in mindset can help you stop worrying about others' opinions. Stop comparing yourself to others. In short, it reduces what we might call life errors. And that's not all. It can also lead to unlocking your hidden potential, increasing your happiness. In other words, this new perspective has the power to dramatically change your life. Welcome to Japanese Urban Sage. Hello. I'm Japanese Urban Sage. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic: the existence of others and the world. By the end of this video, you'll say, "Wow, I never thought of it that way." And with that understanding, your life might just change dramatically. In the first half of this video, we'll explore the current answers from science and philosophy. In the second half, we'll dig into the core ideas that could transform the way you think about reality. So make sure to watch all the way through. Even if some parts feel a bit complex, don't worry. Just let the ideas sink in, and everything will come together by the end. Video outline. Here's how today's discussion is structured. What is reality? Does the world exist? Does the world continue after we die? The limits of modern science. Consciousness and existence. How this understanding can transform your life. Let's start with the first question. What is reality? There are actually two types of reality: objective reality, subjective reality. 1. Objective reality. This refers to the external world that exists independently of us, things like the sun, the moon, bread, or other people. Everything in the physical world is made up of subatomic particles, which are essentially combinations of energy waves. Here's the interesting part. Subatomic particles only take on a definite position and motion when they are observed. In other words, when unobserved, they exist as probability waves. When observed, their state collapses into a fixed position. So, particles aren't always solid things, they're probabilities until we observe them. This means that reality itself has probabilistic properties, not definite ones. That's the surprising truth revealed by modern physics. 2. Subjective reality. The reality you experience every day is created by your brain. Why? Because everything we perceive, light, sound, taste, or touch, is actually vibrational information. For example, light and sound are waves. Our sensory organs, eyes, ears, skin, collect these vibrations. Your brain processes these signals and constructs your experience of the world. Here's the key. Your brain creates a version of reality that you can perceive and understand. And because everyone's brain is different, the same physical event can feel completely different to different people. For example, when you're stressed, a hill may look steeper than it actually is. This shows that our subjective reality isn't fixed. Two realities, one question. So, we have two types of reality. Objective reality, the external world of particles and waves. Subjective reality, the world constructed by your brain. But here's the big question. Which one is the real reality? This debate is ongoing, and it's at the heart of our exploration today. Let's dive deeper into what this means for you and your life. Does the world exist? When it comes to the question, does the real world exist, opinions are divided between two schools of thought. Realists. Anti-realists. Realists. Realists argue that the world exists independently of the observer. In other words, the world is always there, whether we are observing it or not. Anti-realists. Anti-realists, on the other hand, believe that reality is constructed by the observer's consciousness or perception. In this view, without an observer, reality does not exist. Quantum physics and reality. To understand this debate, let's revisit the nature of subatomic particles, the building blocks of reality. Subatomic particles exist as probability waves when they are not being observed. This means that without an observer, particles don't have a fixed state or material presence. In simpler terms, without observation, matter itself might not exist. Quantum entanglement, a fascinating phenomenon. One of the most intriguing aspects of quantum mechanics is quantum entanglement. This occurs when two or more particles become connected in a way that the state of one instantly determines the state of the other, no matter how far apart they are. For example, if particle A is measured and found to have an upward spin, then particle B, entangled with it, will instantly have a downward spin. This phenomenon happens faster than the speed of light, suggesting a deep and mysterious connection between particles. What's remarkable is this. Until observation occurs, these particles exist only as probability waves. It's the act of observation that causes the probability to collapse into a specific state. Does observation create reality? Quantum mechanics suggests that particles, and by extension, all matter, exist as probability waves until they are observed. Expanding this idea further, the world as we know it may also exist only as a probability wave until it is observed. Observation might be what transforms these probabilities into physical, tangible reality. Put simply, without an observer, the world might just drift as a cloud of probabilities. This concept bears some resemblance to the Buddhist philosophy of form is emptiness. And emptiness is form. It reflects the idea that while things have form, their essence is inherently empty, much like how quantum physics suggests that observation gives matter its definitive existence. Does the world exist after you die? What happens to the world if you, the observer, die? The scientific answer is no, the world does not cease to exist. Here's why. Other observers, such as people, animals, or even natural phenomena, continue to exist and interact with the world. Their observations sustain reality. Even if humanity were to disappear, stars, planets, and natural interactions could still serve as observers, keeping the universe in existence. A different perspective. However, this raises an interesting question. Does reality need to exist as matter all the time? It might be more efficient for reality to remain in a state of probability waves, only solidifying into matter when observation is needed. This perspective aligns with the idea that observation is what brings potential into form. Solipsism, the self-centered reality. Let's take a step further. How can you prove that other people actually exist? You can only experience the world through your own consciousness. You can't enter someone else's mind or directly perceive their thoughts. This leads to the philosophical idea of solipsism, which suggests everything, including other people and the entire world, might be a creation of your own consciousness. For example, in dreams, your mind creates people, places, and experiences. What if this waking reality operates in the same way? If so, when you die, the world, the universe, and everything else would cease to exist. Is solipsism too extreme? While solipsism is often dismissed as extreme, the debate between realism and anti-realism continues even among scientists and philosophers. One reason for this ongoing discussion is the lack of definitive evidence that disproves solipsism. The limits of modern science. Modern science operates on a foundational assumption. The world and other people exist independently of your consciousness. This assumption feels intuitive and is widely accepted, but it cannot be absolutely proven. Why absolute proof is impossible? Scientific experiments always rely on the observer's perception. Because of this, it's impossible to completely remove the observer's influence and prove that the external world exists independently. Science is always evolving. Science progresses by challenging and overturning its own assumptions. For example, Newtonian mechanics once seemed to explain all physical phenomena. But with the discovery of quantum mechanics, we learn that Newtonian laws break down at the subatomic level. In the same way, today's scientific truths might be overturned by future discoveries. Unsolved mysteries, such as what came before the Big Bang? What is consciousness? What is dark matter or dark energy? Show that science is far from complete. A subtle assumption. The belief that the world exists independently of consciousness is just that, an assumption. Yet, most of us live as if this assumption is unquestionably true. This unexamined belief shapes how we think and live. With this context in mind, let's dive into the heart of the matter. Levels of consciousness and reality. The mechanics of quantum computers. Let's begin with an analogy: quantum computers. Unlike traditional computers, quantum computers operate on a fundamentally different principle. Traditional computers perform calculations using binary states, either 0 or 1. Quantum computers utilize quantum superposition, allowing qubits to exist as both 0 and 1 simultaneously. This enables quantum computers to process multiple possibilities at once, achieving extraordinary speed and efficiency in specific calculations. The parallel with human thought. Human thinking can also reflect this principle. Lower-level thinking, like traditional computers, it tends to operate in binary, black or white terms. For example, the world either exists independently or it doesn't. Higher-level thinking embraces complexity and considers multiple possibilities simultaneously. Evolving thought patterns. Basic thinking. At a basic level, people often default to instinctive, binary beliefs such as the world and others absolutely exist. No, everything is just a projection of my consciousness. Scientific reasoning. With some intellectual growth, people adopt more rational, science-based thinking. The world and others likely exist independently of my consciousness. Even after my death, the world will continue to exist as others observe it. Advanced thinking. At the highest levels of thought, individuals begin to think like quantum computers, simultaneously holding two seemingly opposing ideas. Scientific perspective: the world and others exist independently. Philosophical perspective: perhaps my consciousness creates everything. This advanced mindset integrates science with the unknown, allowing for nuanced and flexible thinking. Integrating science and the unknown. Highly evolved thinkers can combine scientific knowledge as a foundation for understanding reality, unexplored possibilities, without dismissing what remains unknown. This is why some scientists and physicians venture into spiritual or philosophical discussions. They embrace both proven facts and hypothetical ideas, understanding that today's mysteries could be tomorrow's discoveries. Personal story: from skeptic to integrator. I wasn't always this way. High school, I was terrible at physics and relied on rote memorization for chemistry and biology. Adulthood, I became deeply interested in spiritual concepts like the law of attraction, dismissing science as incomplete. Later, I developed a strong interest in science, studying physics and psychology. For a time, I became so devoted to scientific thinking that I rejected all spiritual ideas. Eventually, I reached a new understanding. Science and spirituality are not opposing forces but complementary tools for exploring the nature of reality. A warning: avoid extremes. However, this integrative thinking differs from blindly believing. Everything is created by my consciousness. Extreme solipsism, without scientific grounding, can lead to irrational and harmful behavior. Searches like solipsism danger or solipsism mental illness highlight the risks of unbalanced thinking. Transforming your life. Now, let's explore how these ideas can change your life. Embracing dual possibilities. You cannot definitively prove or disprove the idea that the world and others exist independently of you. Everything is a creation of your consciousness. Instead of rigidly choosing one belief, consider both possibilities. What if the world exists independently? What if I am creating all of this through my consciousness? Letting go of dualistic thinking. Most people find it difficult to hold these two possibilities at once. This leads to overconfidence in external reality: the world is definitely real. Extreme solipsism: nothing exists except me. A quantum mindset avoids such extremes, allowing you to think both possibilities may coexist. Reality as a virtual simulation. Here's another perspective. What if this reality is like a highly immersive virtual simulation? For instance, your future self might be playing a hyper-realistic virtual reality game set in the 21st century Earth. The people around you could be AI programs, part of this simulation. When you die, you might wake up on a spaceship, stepping out of a capsule-like VR machine. Future humans could greet you: how was the Earth simulation? Fun, right? Would you look back and regret not living more boldly and authentically? Shedding unnecessary worries. Fear of others' opinions. If others are just creations of your consciousness, why worry about their judgments? Comparisons to others. Likewise, comparing yourself to others becomes meaningless if they, too, are projections of your mind. Self-limitation. Many people suppress their true selves to avoid standing out. But if others don't truly exist, what's holding you back? Moving beyond suffering. Some view suffering as noble or virtuous. But if this reality is a simulation or illusion, enduring unnecessary pain might be meaningless. Instead, focus on fully expressing your potential and enjoying your life. How quantum thinking can transform your life. While this might sound like a far-fetched urban legend, it challenges the instinctive, binary logic most people use. A quantum mindset integrates science and the unexplained, realism and anti-realism. By considering both possibilities, you can reshape your approach to reality and live with greater freedom and purpose. Final thoughts. By adopting a quantum mindset, you can let go of unnecessary worries and fears. Focus on enjoying your life to the fullest. When the observer you changes, the observed your reality changes as well. Summary. Don't take the existence of others or the world for granted. Use quantum thinking to embrace multiple possibilities. Release fears, comparisons, and suffering to live freely and authentically. Thank you for watching. I deeply appreciate your time.